put you into a base of
I like that. That's a good way to start. Too bad I wasn't fucking recording.
God damn it.
Oh, don't pull a Rob.
It's probably the last time I'm going to be funny tonight, too.
You have a show, don't you?
What?
Don't you have a show after?
No, Johnny does.
Yeah, he does.
No, I got to go edit
Edit.
a clip of me talking about how much I hate Kiss.
Ah.
Yeah.
Didn't get drafted in the Kiss Army, huh?
They do suck.
Yeah, it's on my
bad.
new album. I have a track about hating Kiss, and they're making a little animation of it right now.
Nice.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, which is fun. That's a neat thing my label does. They make little animations. So
That's cool.
I really like that joke,
yeah, I like it too. That's a fun joke to tell.
but I also like Kiss.
Right. I like it because it's I piss off all the Kiss fans, but then I give you a little something.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That's adorable. This is the... I gotta get my shit. This is the gag on this podcast, recording live from Blacktop Comedy, blacktopcomedy.com for all comedy needs. Check the episode description for the shows and guests' social media. Like what you hear, leave a review. Hate what you hear, go fuck yourself, and then still leave a review. Find us on a bunch of podcast places, not on one you use. Email us at gagonthispodcast@gmail.com to let us know. Email us, whatever. I am Big Nick. I am joined by my Portuguese lover that is Rob.
Hello.
Hello. The Italian stallion that is Danny D.
Hey.
Getting frisky over there, I think.
I was just turning my phone off.
And then, I'm not going to lie, guys, this was something that I was thinking about for quite some time. Who should I introduce first? Like, I don't want to step on toes or anything. Him? All right, we are joined by Keith Lowell Jensen.
I was booked first. It's fair.
Yeah, you are kind of a tag-along.
I'm an add-on.
Wow.
And that voice you hear is Johnny Taylor.
That's woohoo.
He's an
I don't go
add-on.
anywhere without him.
I've noticed that. You guys are quite friendly, like roasting weenies together.
That's the first time that's ever been said.
Yeah, that's the first time that's come up. I was pretty happy to get that fire pit. I was real eager to go roast some weenies.
Yeah, yeah.
Were they good?
Yeah.
I've never had campfire weenies.
I had
Really?
veggie weenies.
What?
And Johnny had, meat weenies.
A real wiener.
Disgusting meat weenies.
Yeah.
Gotta love a nice beefy weenie.
Yeah.
Meat weenie is such an odd phrase. I don't know that I've ever said it before. You got them meat weenies?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I want you to go to Wiener Schnitzel and order a meat weenie. Like, yeah, I'll take a large meat weenie and
I don't think there's sizes on Wiener Schnitzel hot dogs. I'll take a large schnitzel. No, I'll just be like, can I have a chili meat weenie? And, a crouchy. That's a German.
A crouch.
A German dick.
And German dick. Okay.
So these two
A kraut meat weenie.
have been called the Steve Martin and Martin Short of Sacramento.
have we?
You have now. I
Nice. I
I
like
fucking wrote that down. So
I hope I'm Steve Martin.
I hope I'm Steve Martin. Nobody wants to be Martin
No.
Short.
Martin
He was-
Short, I mean, he's funny.
He was very good in Three Amigos.
Well, he was also good as what was that fat?
Yeah,
he was-
Not
I hated
good.
that.
I
Flick.
hated
Jiminy
that.
Jiminy Glick. You hated that?
Okay, to be fair, I never gave it a chance. The
I
whole
don't even know what that is.
concept, I was like, oh, no.
What was the concept?
Martin Short hamming it up in a fat suit. I mean, it
Yeah.
just seemed, everything about it
No.
just seemed so low rent.
Well, and it was very much like Chris Farley's character when he's interviewing like Paul McCartney on SNL. Just horrible questions.
Right.
Chris Farley wasn't in a fat suit.
Right.
Chris Farley was
I mean,
fat.
he was.
right.
to be fair, he was.
Oh, yeah,
it was
no.
just organic fat suit.
Right.
Yeah, organic.
I like his
committed.
voice. His
harder
voice
to
was
get.
great. Let me ask you something.
Who, Glick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Chris Farley was just.
I love Chris Farley.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Organic.
great.
Really?
I mean, Tommy
Wow.
Boy's good. He was better on SNL.
Oh yeah, I loved Martin Short on SNL. That I think he was on for like 2
Or
years.
did you
We're
mean
on to
Chris
Chris
Farley?
Farley.
We meant Chris Farley.
Oh,
But I did. I
Keep
loved
up,
Martin.
Johnny,
I did
keep
love
up.
Martin Short on SNL.
yeah, I mean,
Wait, he was on SNL?
Oh yeah, he did.
Ed Grimley.
Ed
which is-
Grimley. Oh, Pat Sajak, I must say, most decent.
I really must say.
I really must say. He wore his pants up to here, a little dance.
How long have you guys known each other?
As long as he's been doing comedy.
It's almost 9 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got this weird thing where when I meet people, I make sure they're good at comedy before I'll be friends with them. Yeah. Which sounds like a joke, but it's
So you've
true.
been friends
That's
for
why
9
we don't
years, or
talk.
he's just been doing comedy for 9 years?
No, we've been friends since he started doing comedy,
Oh, okay.
and then he was good. So I was like, all right, we could be friends. But like, I met Becky Lynn, and I really like. She seemed nice enough, but I didn't want to be friends with her until I saw her perform. And then she came to Luna's, and she was good, and I was like, all right, we could be friends now.
Oh,
And
okay.
she was like, wow, you're a dick.
That's how you acquire your friends.
But it worked. We became friends. Well, you don't want to be friends with a hack.
Well, that gets
Right.
rid of a lot of awkward things going down. you know,
Right.
'cause-
I could be friends with someone who doesn't do comedy,
yeah.
but I can't be friends with someone who does comedy and sucks.
Or it's like being friends with anyone that does improv.
Or anyone who does improv, right? I can't
You
be
have to
friends
go to
with
those shows.
God damn.
My wife does improv, so.
And you hate your wife. Okay.
I love my wife. I just,
Here's my
Took a dark
analogy for
turn.
improv. I think improv comedy is a lot like improvisational jazz. Like, you don't want to see people do it unless they're the best musicians in the world.
yeah.
If you're not that good, play punk. 3 chords, or do stand up. But don't try. Improv is best left to the professionals.
By the way, Blacktop has an improv class you can join.
Because you have to start somewhere to become really good. Start there.
I'm curious, how long did it take for you to be like, this guy's good?
Almost instantly. I'll be honest with you. I hadn't seen Johnny perform yet when I made him do a set at Luna's. And it's going to sound like I'm blowing smoke up your ass, but I
like
think,
it.
I mean, you were you were
Keep
there.
it coming.
You know how this is how it went down. I met him and I was like, okay, there's something to this guy. Like right away, he just seemed smart and he was quick. And so I was like, hey, you want to do a set tonight? Which wasn't something I normally did. And he'd literally only done one time. He'd only performed once.
Yeah. It was-
And 2 days later was at Luna's, and I was like, hey, want to do a set? And he did, and he was great. And so we became fast friends. And then that weekend, I had a yard sale. And so that's probably really where we bonded, is because I put a bunch of my records out for sale. And if you get me talking about music, and we have a lot in common as far as music, we're friends. So he comes over and he's like, oh shit, the Carpenters, I'll take that. And like really eclectic, like all over the board, which albums of mine. What did you get from me?
I bought the Carpenters. I bought Don't Say No, Billy Squier.
Oh, Squire. I was like, someone else likes Billy Squire. Awesome. Yeah, it was really great.
It was, and maybe a Cheap Trick album.
Yeah. So that's it. Then we were friends. And plus, one of his wives was with him, and I really liked her too. So it was like couple bonding.
The fucking face Johnny just made.
The second one or the third one?
Oh, shit.
She was the third, yeah.
Most recent.
Third,
Okay.
third and last, yeah.
Maybe
For now.
last for
Yeah, the last for 2019.
Right. Okay, yeah.
No, he's been through several that he's managed not to marry. I'm proud of him.
It's gonna be that kind of podcast.
No, I'm complimenting you. You're doing good.
Yeah. I'm
Do you
doing good.
just get attached or?
I believe in love.
Okay. Still.
He's so romantic.
I was about to say, that is the best answer ever. I believe in love.
Oh my God, we were at lunch and I was going off on someone. I was like, why do they feel the need to get fucking married? Like, it's so stupid. And I was really going off on someone for like getting married more than once. And then all of a sudden it occurred to me who I was talking to. And I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry, Johnny.
Oh, you guys are good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many have you been to all of his weddings?
No, not one. No,
Oh,
because
just-
the last wedding, the last marriage he had, he was in the middle of when I met him.
Oh,
Okay.
So yeah, I've never gotten to see him through it's like
The fourth
the
one.
comedian equivalent of being the best man at the wedding is I got to feature for him on his album recording.
That's true.
That's
Nice.
that's being the comedian best friend, best man.
And you're married, right?
I'm married. Yeah, we've been
Same-
together for
same lady.
25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, we were 3.
Yeah.
I could tell, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got a couple questions. One thing I'm curious about, Keith, is when you Google your name, first of all, you have a luscious beard. I dug the beard. I really did.
Oh, thanks.
It was
Yeah,
nice.
I grow a good beard.
You do. But the Roseanne Barr endorsement is pasted everywhere you are.
Yeah, it's on top of my book.
What if you...
It's hard to explain what Roseanne meant to me. I walked off stage. I was performing with Doug Stanhope, and I knew she was there. And I walked off stage, and a hand reached out of the dark and grabbed my hand. And I look, and it's Roseanne sitting at a table with a drink. And she says, "You were hilarious." And my eyes started tearing up. I mean, I was so moved. And I mean, by this point, we'd met and worked with Robin Williams, and we'd had a lot of, I'm not starstruck easily. But she was one of my first like favorite comedians, and then also a hero politically as like a progressive, you know, which is funny to look at where she is now.
Yeah.
But she championing gay rights on a major network television show and having tackling racial issues and feminist issues and just being who she was on the show was like a working class endorsement. And I mean, I love her so much. And then she came up to the green room and hung out with us, and then I ended up getting to open for her at 2 different shows. So it's really incredible, and it's a huge loss to have her turn into such an asshole.
Oh, I thought she died.
And
You were like, it's a huge loss. I was like, she's dead?
She might as well be. That Roseanne is dead. The one we and I think the way it happened is Israel is the ticket to it all. She sees Trump as favorable towards Israel, and she saw Obama as not favorable towards Israel, and she'll adjust everything else to that one issue. You know, you ever know like a one issue voter?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's her one issue is Israel. And there are people like, how did it happen? And I'm like, Israel. That's how it happened.
Wow.
Her grandparents were real into the establishment of Israel, and they drilled it into her head when she was very young, and it's always been a big thing of hers. And also relevant, she's fucking insane. That can't leave that out.
I thought the bitch was white. You know, that was her son that posted that clip.
Oh yeah, that
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met her son. Wow. That's wild.
So one question I have for you, Johnny, is there is a video of you, I guess, pretending to take a selfie with Keith prepping in the background.
Yeah.
How did that... well, first of all, is that something he does on a regular basis?
No, I take selfies on a regular basis, but
I fuck with him.
I was trying to capture that. So that was actually backstage at
That was at my taping, yeah.
Yeah, your taping for Bad Comedy for Bad People.
Yeah.
And pre-show, and we're just kind of getting loose back there, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a selfie, and then I see Keith start to try to interrupt the selfie.
I was trying to photobomb him.
So I just turned it to video real quick.
Awesome.
And my favorite part of the video is his little smile where he knows he's being a dick and he knows that I'm oblivious to it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments captured on video.
It encapsulates our friendship.
It does. But yeah, that was fun. I like to repost that one.
Yeah, I do. Like every 6 months, you share it again. I was like, how'd you come across this? It's not time for a Facebook reminder yet. Do you have an alarm on your phone?
Sometimes I just look at it.
He has
on my phone.
on a reminder every 2 months.
It's his alarm. It wakes him up in the morning.
It's like that. There's a Facebook site that's the same picture of Matt Stairs every day.
Really?
Matt Stairs was a baseball player for the A's years ago. And it's just him sitting there with his shitty mustache looking Canadian. Yeah. And it's the same picture every day. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it must have been before my time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you just mean it's a static picture?
Yeah, it's the same picture.
Most websites have the same picture every day till they change them. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
They post. They actually
they
post
repost it. It's like a blog, and that's their entry.
Yeah.
That's their update. Every day, the same picture.
Exactly.
And now he doesn't look like that anymore. And
he's dead.
He probably doesn't even play baseball.
He's alive.
No, he hasn't played in 20 years.
And he's dead.
Yeah.
He's alive.
Is he alive?
Yeah.
Johnny's a big sports guy. We don't have everything in common.
Really?
Yeah, I love sports.
What's your favorite sport?
Basketball.
So you get that every day.
Who's your team?
Diehard Sacramento Kings fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he took me to a game once, and to put it lightly, I have a problem with cops.
Yeah.
And it was total like cop tribute night.
It was cop night.
Did you know that?
I was like, Johnny, are there always this many pigs? And then they brought the cop dogs out. I was like,
dog pigs.
There's dog pigs. What's going on, Johnny? Why did you bring me here?
Now, Johnny, did you know it was cop night?
I did not.
Okay.
But did you enjoy it that you brought me to cop night?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that I brought weed in. Especially with all those dog pigs around.
Yeah, those dog pigs can really get in the way.
They sniff it out.
They're trying to focus them on the basketball trick they're doing, and they're like, no, we smell something.
Yeah, I mean, they used to hire me at the Punchline to do those canine benefit shows all the time. And there'd be times when they bring, retired canine dogs in, and the dogs would just be barking at me. I'm like, I think they smell weed. Like they're still on duty at this thing.
That's any comedy show.
So my favorite Johnny weed smell story. I'll start it and you can finish it. Johnny goes to the airport and they pull him back.
Dude.
They pull him back to talk to him about something they found in his bag.
Oh, yeah. So here, to give you a little bit of backstory, I had weed in my backpack, and I knew I was flying into Canada, so I was like, I need to make sure I have no weed in this bag. So I go through fine-tooth comb. And so I go, and then I'm at customs, and the custom guy's like, we need to talk to you about your bag. And I'm like, fuck. And I immediately just start apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry, I had weed. I thought I got all the weed out.
I love that you start confessing.
Yeah, I was like, you can keep the weed. You can do whatever.
You're bribing them.
Like I don't need it. I wasn't planning on smuggling weed. And they're like, no, we didn't find any weed. We found this, and it was this huge Bowie knife.
Oh, shit.
It was in my bag. And I was like, oh, shit, I forgot that was in there. I'm so concerned with the weed, I forgot to take my Bowie knife out. But they kept it.
Yeah.
You didn't mail it to yourself?
No.
Is that a thing you can do?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
But then when we went up to Canada with Caitlin, you guys had no problem because the weed was just all candy. Is that stuff easier to transport?
Yeah, Caitlin somehow got a ton of edibles. But that
Yeah.
made that Canada trip so much more fun.
For you guys.
Right.
So I negotiated the deal. So, of course, I got myself my own room and made Johnny and Caitlin share a room. And then I kept bugging them, like, you guys fucking? Like, what are you guys doing? Are you guys fucking? And so then they're there, and I'm bugging them because we're supposed to be going out, and they're not ready yet. And then Caitlin hears a knock at the door. So she tears the door up, and it goes, go away, we're fucking! And the little maid goes, sorry. Like, I thought you were Keith.
Then Keith walks up behind, hey.
Start doing the little dance.
So were you actually arrested? Like, is that a...
Oh, yeah, a whole bunch of times, yeah.
Well, because on...
That's what my new show's about. It's about all the times I was arrested. But I also tell some stories of times I wasn't arrested because I want everyone to be able to relate.
4.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I was arrested for I think the first time was protesting during the first Persian Gulf War. So that was like a, hey, want to go get arrested? And I went and got arrested.
Okay.
Then I was arrested protesting for gay rights. I did not intend to get arrested, and they beat the shit out of me. That was different. Then I was arrested for riding my bike on the K Street Mall, which is really just having a big mouth.
Oh, okay.
But
I was
it
going to
so
say, if
funny
they
'cause
arrest you...
I'm on my bike, and I hear this, pull over, and I look, and it's a cop also on a bike. And the whole thing struck me as funny from the beginning, but, cops don't have a sense of humor. So I'm, like, joking and having fun, and he's not having fun. So, and then I just mouthed off more and more, which is what I do. I got arrested for bringing a gun into the secure area of the Chicago International O'Hare Airport.
You don't strike me as someone that would ever have
It wasn't
a gun.
my gun, yeah.
Oh, it never is.
It was my right. Likely story. It was my boss at the time's bag, and I was, how they say never carry anyone else's bag. They mean it. So, but what strikes me as funny about that story is that I have that on my record, and it was sealed. So if I ever commit another Homeland Security offense, they could open it, and I could still be tried for it.
Wow.
But if I never do, it's just sealed. But it must be flagged as Homeland Security, or else how would they know to open it if I committed another Homeland Security? And yet I've never, ever been pulled aside for special searching at the airport. I've flown internationally. I've flown to China. I've never been had a problem. Hassan Minhaj, who's like the all-American boy, went to college. Because of his faith, he's never drank. He doesn't gamble. He's a good boy, and he gets searched like every second time. They have come on the airplane and made him get up and walk out. Oh. So he knows that I travel a lot too, and he's like, Keith, how often do you get searched? And I was like, searched? And he's like, gee, I wonder what the difference here is. I wonder what this is about. So
how does it feel for you to have your bits on Sirius XM comedy and things like that? Because I've heard you a decent amount. Like,
when the checks come, I love it. I don't think much about it 29 days out of the month, but when I get my direct deposit, I'm like, man, it feels good to be on Sirius Satellite Radio. It's honestly, having your comedy on there helps support you financially, and you don't think so much about like, well, I can make a living off comedy until you start getting played to hundreds of thousands of people, and you're like, well, this makes money.
If our careers had this slow upward arch, then we hit Sirius, and it's boom. I mean, that was everything. That was the point where it's like, okay, now we have a career.
Like the residuals are that good? Wow.
So it's not like they're buying CDs or anything after hearing, or did that go up too?
No, that helps too.
But it's mainly the Sirius.
My old albums, my old independently released albums, I got a call from Jonathan who helped me put them out, and he's like, dude, what the fuck? All your stuff is selling again. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'm on Sirius. Yeah. So, but I know what station you listen to.
You listen to Raw Dog.
Not
probably,
the clean station.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because you're hearing Johnny. my dirty album is coming up on Raw Dog. They'll be playing that one. They said 4 weeks, so any day now. Cool. They'll be starting to play it. But I'm over on the clean station. I did a clean album, and man, that really pays nice. Yeah, my label asked me specifically. They were like, they're cool. They were like, hey, we want we're not going to tell you what to do. Record whatever you want. They said, if you have clean material that you've been thinking about releasing, do it, because we know how to make you money with that. And so, for every 200 comedians on the dirty station, there's one on the clean station. So there's a lot less competition for airtime, and it's nice.
No shit.
So, but my new album's called Unclean, specifically to.
Yeah, I was gonna actually ask you about that. I do my homework. You recorded that in July, right?
Is that when I did it?
No, that was the Hair Center one. No, was that?
I thought you recorded.
No, July sounds right. Yeah.
Laughs.
Yeah, and it's out now.
Oh, it is. I was going to ask you about the process, like how quick it is, the turnaround.
Oh God. That's a fucking loaded question.
Well, how's this for positivity? With the label I'm currently with, there's a really quick turnaround. And
is that 800-pound or
800-pound Gorilla Records are fantastic, and they got it flipped around really quickly. I'm not going to say anything about any other record labels and whether or not they do the same thing well. When's your album coming out, though?
I was about to be like, Johnny, do you have anything to say?
I just recorded an album in September. We're hoping to get it released in the first quarter of 2020.
Okay.
All right.
The first quarter, that's like 4 months in that quarter, right?
Quit picking on Johnny.
3 months.
I'm just saying, like, that, I mean, not to give like a definitive, like, it'll be out March, whatever.
So it's nice if you have a chance, you can give it to Raw Dog for an exclusive. And so, like, they played my whole album twice, just, first track to last, a week before its official release. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that gives you a nice little bump. And then you get the official release. And it's so little CD sales or even downloads anymore. It's all about the streaming. Wow. My Spotify numbers are great. My Pandora numbers are great. My iTunes numbers are
yeah. So. I mean, Spotify. I mean, just them playing on Sirius improved my streaming numbers a ton. So, I mean, I was getting played maybe 30 or 40 times a day. And then I started getting played on Sirius, and now I get played, 500 times a day.
Well, plus Johnny got a big honor. I'll show off for you. Yeah, Johnny's on the best of 2019 playlist.
Official Spotify playlist.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And getting on an official Spotify playlist, you get crazy bump.
Yeah, it's helped me a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you guys have agents that work with Raw Dog and all that. Like you can't just go there and be like, I have this album.
Our labels do that.
Yeah, the labels? Okay.
Yeah. They go out and
shows how I know nothing about show business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either do we. Like, you're kind of figuring out as you go. I called my mentor, Karen Anderson, told her I was having a really hard time getting management. This was like 10 years ago. And she said, Keith, I've never had a manager or an agent in my life. And she's written for Ellen, and she's written for Wanda Sykes. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's not something I should be that stressed out about.
Yeah, because they definitely paint it as that's something you need.
It's something that's certainly nice to have.
It helps in certain areas for sure.
Yeah, and you have management.
Yeah, and getting TV, you're not going to get TV without good management. It's just almost impossible.
Let me ask you this: do you think that you would have gotten in with the management company that you're with if you hadn't moved to LA for a while?
No, I had to go down there.
That's a big part of it.
Rob, you were going to say something?
Oh no, go ahead.
How long were you in LA for, Johnny?
Almost 3 years.
One relationship.
Did you? Okay. All right.
It's true.
God damn.
It's true.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
So Keith has been your longest relationship.
Almost.
Well, your longest successful.
Right.
relationship.
Well, I mean,
So far.
the podcast is early. So
The night is young.
by the end of this podcast, we'll see.
Yeah.
If he's asking for one of you guys for a ride to his gig in West
I
Sac,
still need
you'll
a
know
ride to
things
West
didn't
Sac,
go well.
Sucks for you. I'm just kidding. I have a show at High Water. I could probably work something out. I could get you a little bit
We're
closer.
breaking up, Keith, tonight.
Well, I'm taking you home, aren't
Well, you're taking both of us home, and then I'll take him where he needs to go.
I? Thanks for volunteering my car. All right.
Sounds like she volunteered more than your car.
Keith's got me. We won't break up.
Yeah, see, he still needs you.
It'll just be a
that's
quiet
nice.
drive.
Nice to be needed.
So have you moved to LA? Like ever?
No. I probably should have. Yeah, it's weird. It's like people say it's a, sort of a long shot career and a difficult career, and then I've put all these obstacles in my own way, wanting to do it on my terms. I used to spend a lot more time in LA, and now I go down maybe once or twice a year. I have some gigs coming up in a few months down there, but LA's rough. I remember going down there. Me and Eric Cash went to hit a bunch of open mics, and every open mic we went to was just abysmal. They're like, "Yeah, you can do 3 minutes in front of 6 comics."
Yeah, that's the LA experience.
In this small room above the cafe, not even in the cafe.
Right.
I go up. There's no stage or stage lights. It's literally like a group of comics standing around listening to each other, or but sort of listening to each other. It's like, wow, this is an open mic, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you'd get booked for shows, and I was living in Pasadena at the time. And I got booked for the show way on the west side out in Santa Monica. And, you drive for 45 minutes, and then you finally get to this show, and it's 4 people. Wow. And you're like, man, fuck this.
Right.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Well, that's a long way to go for 4 people.
Yeah.
You could have called each one of them individually.
Right.
Done a set.
At that point, it's just like, fucking download my album.
So what would you say the biggest difference is between the LA scene and like up here?
LA scene is, 100 of the best comics in the world and literally 20,000 of the absolute worst.
And I find LA has, like, even when you go to the big name clubs, there's a lot of people that are like, they're actors and they're actresses,
right.
and they want to be doing something, so they're going to also do comedy, but they're not really. That's not where they're at.
Yeah, and and you go and you do these shows, and like most of the people that you're doing a show with have TV credits, and I'm not even trying to, suck my own dick. We can swear on here, can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm not trying to, blow myself, but I was always one of the better comics on the show, regardless of,
I was
who
on a
there.
show that I was so intimidated. I'm trying not to name names, but I was so intimidated by the resume of everybody I was on with, and they were dog shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
they were fucking awful. And a lot of times it's people that are writers, and they get a really nice resume, and they might even be good writers, but they can't deliver on stage. And there's that line gets blurred. People,
Right.
their credentials get them these gigs that they aren't qualified to have because they wrote for someone. Mm-hmm. And then they go up there and they can't pull it off. So it's
Well, that was
weird.
like, who was it? I think it was Al Madrigal was talking about Steve-O doing comedy and how the only reason Steve-O got a spot was because he was on Jackass and Steve-O was horrible.
See, that's one thing I liked about Steve-O, though, is that he knew it. And so he would have normally you have, your opener and then your feature and then your headliner. Steve-O would have 2 features. He'd give them both long sets. And then he would come out and be like, hey, guys, I'm going to tell you a couple stories and then do a stunt. And he would tell you some really great stories because the guy does have stories, and then set his hair on fire and call it a night, And I liked that. I mean, because we've seen a lot of that. I mean, Ron Jeremy toured as a stand-up and got to play A-list clubs. The guy whose wife cut his dick off toured.
Bobbitt.
Bobbitt toured as a
Screech.
stand-up in A-Rooms. Screech got to play A-Rooms. It's bullshit.
Well, the bagel guy.
Now he's
touring.
We'll see how far that
Wow.
goes.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna get
That
the
guy-
shit beaten out of him again.
He got mad at me on Twitter. The bagel guy did.
No
Did he
way.
really? I didn't hear that you interacted with him.
Yeah, it was like the story of him going on the stand-up tour.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think the headline was, bagel guy planning sold-out comedy tour. And I just quote tweeted it, and I said, this is also the first line of my suicide note. And he was like, haha, funny guy. And I'm like, I will stomp a knot in your ass. Straight up. If I was in that bagel style, I would have beat the living shit out of him.
You're a dude with a boxing background and an established comedian. It's like, back off, dude. You can't win either.
Right. I would kill that poor guy. I won't really kill him. Let the record state. I would hate for him to end up dead. And then
You're on the suspect list. Dude, that's a long-ass suspect list. I think you're fine.
You're not alone there.
Okay.
Also, a long-ass flight just to kill.
Well, I mean, he did his first open mic set in full Juggalo makeup.
He's a Juggalo too, huh?
Now we're talking.
Oh, you're a fan of ICP?
No.
ICP.
I'm just saying now
no.
it's starting to sound more interesting.
Well,
Right.
you know it's bad when the Juggalos are like, take that fucking makeup off.
Ooh, wow.
They were berating him so hard on
They take
Twitter.
When Juggalos are like, homie, you're embarrassing us.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty bad when they won't claim you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Juggalo of all people.
They're notoriously open.
Right. Pretty accepting bunch.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's even like what they sing about and stuff. That's like their mantra.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like we're here for the misfits. I mean, except for that guy.
That guy doesn't count.
So you're an author, sir.
Yes, of my book that has the Roseanne Barr quote on it, "Punching Nazis and Other Good Ideas." And thank you.
Okay.
So
I like how he took time out. He's like, thank you.
Roseanne Barr gave us that quote, and as we're coming up towards printing, I'm warning my publisher. I was like, hey, she's becoming really problematic. And they were like, no, it'll be fine. Like, that's a really good quote. And I was like, maybe go with the Mike Kaplan quote. And they're like, are you kidding? Roseanne Barr, that's huge. You know, we're going to go with that. And I was like, okay. A couple days passed. She does something else crazy. I told him, okay, I think it's really time to reconsider the Roseanne quote. And then finally the thing happened that got her fired. Mm-hmm. And I called them immediately that morning. And I said, hey, the Roseanne quote needs to come down. They said, Keith, your book printed an hour ago. By an hour, by 1 fucking hour. And now I think we've got like 800 copies of it left. If I sell those, we can do a second printing in softcover without that fucking quote on it.
There was some misspelling on it, wasn't there?
And there's a typo. Yeah.
I did read it.
Keith Lowell Jensen in hilarious instead of is hilarious.
Yeah.
To be fair, you were nuts deep in hilarity.
I was in it, way up in that hilarity.
I wasn't sure if you did that on purpose or
No.
Okay.
No, that was. And that's the funny thing is, it wasn't some vanity press thing. This is Skyhorse Books. They're a big publisher. You know, I think they did Roger Stone's book.
Yeah.
That's
There you go. Yeah, that's
More great company for me to be in.
I don't know if I'd publish that one.
Right, I'm hanging out with all the Nazis over at Skyhorse Books.
Roseanne and Stone.
I know on the paperback just have a Roger Stone quote.
Keith Lowell Jensen on Real Funny.
So, Johnny, are you still part of Hard Time News?
Yeah.
So what is that for?
It's just the best satire site in the fucking world.
It's like the punk rock Onion.
It's the punk rock Onion. And I mean, it started with, satire on punk culture, which you think, well, there's got to be at least 50 years of, satire articles on punk culture. But we're expanding. Matt and Bill over there have opened it up to video game culture and other music culture and political culture. And it's pretty wide-ranging, and I think they're fucking killing it.
You think about it, though, because I was thinking about this the other day. As I keep waiting for Hard Times to kind of run out of steam, and then I was like, no, because punk from like the late 60s on, each generation embraced punk in a different way, all the way up to like the Green Day generation, which by then my generation, which already we were almost a retro fad being into punk, are now looking at those kids being like, oh, you don't know punk. You know? There's a lot of iterations of punk to go through. And they always include mod and ska and the things that were on the periphery around punk.
And I think it's one of those things where it's really just having a go at geeks. And the thing is, like, punk geeks and music geeks and comedy geeks and anybody that's just super obsessed with any one thing or one niche and just really taking the piss out of it. And I think, and I love the Onion, but I think the Hard Times does it just as good as the Onion at this point. So
I sent a Hard Times link to Nick, and it broke his heart because it was the one about Cannibal Corpse and Nicki Minaj doing a song about ass eating.
Yeah, that's fucking true, right?
No.
I was telling him, I was
That
like,
would be so dope.
I was like, that's going to be my fucking ringtone.
I was like, I don't think it's real, dude. He's like, it's got to be real,
Dude,
man.
Nicki Minaj and Cannibal Corpse. That'd be the shit.
I mean, that wouldn't be the weirdest collaboration ever.
It'd be the best. I sincerely love Nicki Minaj, by the way. I'm a huge fan. She's
And I love
fantastic.
Cannibal Corpse. So.
And I think
love
her and
ass
Cannibal
eating.
Corpse would be. And ass eating also. It has everything. It has everything.
I love eating ass. I love Cannibal Corpse.
Nicki Minaj has a big ass.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ripe for eating.
Be great.
Just a ripe for
There's
a
a
mowing.
meal.
Yes.
Thanksgiving's coming around.
Our friend Cole was going through the dating sites, and she would send me every single dude profile. She would take a screen cap and send it to me where the guy mentioned that he liked ass eating. And I loved it because some of them were so wholesome. The guy's like, I play clarinet and I was in a marching band in high school and now I do data tech and I like to eat ass. And I was like, that's really sweet. Like, he just listed all his hobbies. And I love the lack of shame there. I'm like, just fucking own it. You eat ass, and that's it's relevant. You're looking for dating. It's more relevant than you playing the fucking clarinet.
Right. You're more likely to get a date from eating ass than playing the clarinet.
Yes.
Right.
For
that
sure.
chick's like, man, I hope that guy will play a
puts
little
his-
Benny Goodman for me and then eat my ass.
I hope that guy puts his clarinet in my ass.
I think
One
the
time at band
clarinet
camp.
would affect your technique.
Right.
It would just
Good
Yeah.
fingers, yeah.
That's a reed instrument,
No,
so you
just
put your mouth around it, right?
yeah. So no, I'm talking about the ass eating technique, not the fingers.
No,
Yeah, I got it. He was going the right
Ass
direction.
eating is a reed instrument also.
I think more of a wind.
Depends on what you eat, I guess.
All right, so Keith, I have a question about cinema insomnia with Mr. Lobo.
Oh, wow.
And
You did some crazy homework.
that's what we do here. We're professional at choke on this.
Wait, you don't even know what he's talking about, do you?
I know Cinema Insomnia with Mr.
Oh,
Lobo,
okay. Cool,
but
cool,
I don't
cool,
know
cool.
your involvement in it.
Well, he is Francois Fly.
That's a vicious rumor that's never been proven.
Well, you better tell IMDb then.
Really? They have me listed as Francois Fly?
Yeah, you have a huge IMDb. Have you never checked yourself out?
No, nobody can prove that I'm him.
You're
or
also
that he's me. It's just
well. Let's
gossip.
see if this is a rumor. You're about to be on a documentary about
Spike Mike's Festival of Animation.
yes,
Animation Outlaws.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I went and saw this. I'd much rather talk about this than Francois Fly.
Okay.
I will say this. I did book Francois Fly for a show one time, and he gave me a ride home.
Francois did?
Yeah.
Oh, that was nice of him.
Yeah. He's a sweet guy.
I did. He's been seen running around with my woman.
Right.
So we have words. Yeah, so I worked for Spike Mike's Festival of Animation. I'd been a fan of them when I was a kid in Riverside. Huge part of my life. And so that was really exciting. And I went to see the screening, and they cut the story that I told about the time that Spike accidentally ate cat shit in front of me. And I was really sad that didn't make it into the final edit of the movie. So, but other than that, it's a great movie, and I really recommend you go see it.
Is it out? Because it said it wasn't
It's right
out
now.
yet.
Right now it's doing its premieres in the different towns that Spike and Mike were big in. So they went to San Francisco, they went to Portland, of course San Diego, which is where they were based. They'll do Riverside, and then they'll find some home for it on some network,
Probably streaming.
Stars or something like that. One of them.
Netflix, maybe.
That would be dope. If you got Netflix, there's some really nice animation in it, like original animation made for the documentary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did some puppet animation of Spike where he's telling a story, and it's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, I really recommend it. I hope people check it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look. I'll have to look at your IMDb again.
If you're into animation, they were giants, and they were the first people to ever show John Lasseter films theatrically, who went on to found Pixar and make Toy Story and all those great movies. Mike Judge of Beavis and Butthead.
That was the first place I ever saw Mike Judge stuff.
They
Really?
produced his first 4 films. And he's in the documentary saying he was ready to get a straight job and move on with his life when he was like, shit, I should try making some animation. And he's like, I heard about these weird guys. And that's someone that went on to give us King of the Hill and Daria and what
Beavis
else?
and Butthead.
So Beavis and Butthead. And what's his live action TV show he has now?
Oh, I forgot what it's called. But Office,
shit.
I mean, fucking Office Space.
Office Space, yeah, by
Love
far.
Office Space.
Idiocracy was not so good.
I liked
yeah, I
Idiocracy.
kinda
I like the
love it,
metaphor.
too.
I liked the metaphor, like we're all going to be stupid.
Yeah, you ever see
kinda liked
Basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I feel like that one. Like it would have been a great half hour. They decided to make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
But it's still worth watching because that great half hour is still in there. Like there's enough good stuff in Idiocracy.
I agree with Nick. I think Idiocracy is trash.
Okay.
Like almost complete trash.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll let you
Wow.
have that one opinion.
I think it has.
How do you feel about Basketball?
I love basketball.
Okay. Cannibal the Musical?
I love it.
Okay, we're just going to keep going. This is what me and Johnny are doing now.
Yeah, Idiocracy, I just thought it was a one-note joke throughout the entire flick. But what are you going to do?
You mean the stuff in the toilet?
Came true. It did come true. But
Fuck, now what is the Mike Judge show? God damn it.
Too bad
Like
you don't have anything like
Is
Google
it,
to look it up on.
Silicon
That's
Valley
weird.
or
I wish our
the IT
researcher was
crowd?
here.
Silicon Valley.
Right?
Silicon Valley.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that is what it is.
Okay.
Which is good.
So who's the guy that was on that show who turned out to be a big horrible guy?
TJ Miller.
Also worked with him. I could have had his quote on my fucking book.
know.
We worked together and got along great. And he was such a sweet guy. And he came back like on the last night. He was recording his album. You hear my voice on his album at the end. I'm all TJ Miller. And he comes back and he like it's just me and him and Andrew Orvidal in the room. And he goes, Keith, I want you to know something. I didn't know you going into this, and I'm glad it was you. I'm glad it was you here this week. And I was all, thanks, man. And he's all, I love you. And I was like, wow. And we had a big hug. And then, like a year later, everyone's like, oh, yeah, it turns out he's a piece of shit. And I was like, God damn it.
Weren't they all still just allegations? Like nothing was founded, right?
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
I
I think it's pretty clear.
it's hard to be in comedy and not accidentally work with pieces of shit.
Right.
Like it's just part of it.
That's just life.
And that whole never meet your heroes thing, like I can say most of the time it's actually worked out pretty well for us.
Same.
I mean, we met Robin Williams and he was like
He was rad.
the nicest person in the world.
That would suck if you were like, he was a horrible human.
No,
I would be
he
like,
was
oh my
so
God.
sweet. I mean, I love your story about when you found him crawling around on the floor.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, it was. I was looking for a phone charge, a place to charge my phone, in the green room of this theater. Robin Williams comes in and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to find a place to charge my phone." And I went down the hallway to see if there was just like a random outlet in the hallway. And when I come back, Robin Williams is like crawling around on the floor, and he's like, "Johnny, I found one." It's like. Fucking Mork is crawling around looking for a place I could charge my phone.
And
Funny.
Well, after I recorded L4G, and then we drove out because they were taping that TV show for BBC
Set list.
at Setlist in Mill Valley, and we knew that Robin Williams and all those guys, was Dana Carvey there that
Paul
night?
Provenza.
They were all at this pizza place where we'd all hang out after the Mill Valley shows. So we went there, and he knew what he was doing. Like, Robin sees me walk in, and he stands up and he yells across the room, Keith, oh my God, I was watching your bit on YouTube. And Provenza and all these guys look at me like, who the fuck's that? And I was like, thank you, Robin. I think he did it knowing that was going to make my fucking day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I opened for Dana Carvey on my birthday in Mill Valley, and I finished my set, and I go to the green room, and it's just Robin Williams in the green room. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, are you going to do a set tonight? And he said, no, Mark Pitta texted me and told me it was your birthday, and I just wanted to come by and wish you a happy birthday.
God
Oh
damn.
my God.
Damn. This guy is fucking adorable.
And you know what
Jesus.
sucks about it? His birthday is my birthday.
It is, yeah.
And I could have been there getting birthday greetings from Robin fucking Williams.
Damn it. When's your guys' birthday?
March 5th.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, March.
Yeah, but 5 years apart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie Pearl and I share the same birthday.
Oh, do you really?
Oh,
that's
cool.
adorable.
April
Yeah, but
Fool's
20
Day.
years apart.
I am so excited to see her.
I said it. Look how that
I
just
tried
went
to
right
ignore it.
under everything.
I almost said something way worse.
we're
and
not
I'm
touching
gonna go
that.
there.
I didn't say a word.
She had the worst stage. She took my class here
Yeah.
at Blacktop, and she had the worst stage fright in the world. And I never thought she'd
can't
get on
imagine
stage,
that.
or that if she did, it would just be a bucket list thing. And yeah, that's her life now. She just
Yeah.
lives
She left
comedy.
for Vegas today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a nut.
Supposed to be with her. But
So-
instead, I'm here with you boys.
Woo! Glad to have you.
Well, you didn't have to come.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you changed your hair. Now we got to change the whole fucking logo.
sorry. Sorry.
Jesus.
Sorry.
So, Johnny, since we're talking about like touring with big names. You're going on a tour with Brian Posehn pretty soon?
I've been on the road off and on with Posehn for 2 years. So we're going to be in Boise in 2 weeks. And, I mean, we went a lot of places this year. Denver, Phoenix,
Texas.
Yeah, Austin, Vancouver.
I got to say, your flyer of join us so we can smoke weed illegally. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Usually we go to places where weed is fine, but Boise, it's not as cool. This is the first place where I'm like, we're outlaws here.
Oh, God, that'd be so great if you and Brian got arrested in Boise. I'd be into that.
Fucking TMZ. Don't.
No. I could just see Brian being like, we didn't know.
Remember when you were smoking out with Ron Funches on campus at Sac State? And I'm just sitting with them, which is my usual role, just the odd man out watching them smoke weed. And then all of a sudden the booker is standing over us. And he goes, no, you can't do that. And Johnny's cool as a cucumber. Johnny's like, yeah, of course, and starts packing up. But Funches just freezes. And he goes, I don't know what to do. And Johnny goes, well, we'll just pack up and go somewhere else. And he goes, okay.
Yeah, Ron looks up and is like, you want us to leave?
Right. He's in a panic.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's hella funny.
Like I don't want to go there, but he was the only non-white guy there, so I can understand why he was.
There was a little bit of panic.
So. Good point. Yeah.
I was cool as a cucumber because I'm like, they're not going to shoot me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the guy in question that was busting us was also a person of color.
She was.
So I felt pretty safe.
Also, part of me was just like, dude, it's weed.
Yeah.
On campus at Sac State.
It's not like we're doing
That's
rails.
how I feel.
We're not doing rails of crystal meth.
Right, you missed that by a whole 5-6 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like it's food on bar.
Trying to calm down from our upper. Shit.
So one thing I want to ask both of you is what do you guys think the importance of actually traveling outside of your city to do comedy is? Because we've had Carlos Rodriguez, Alex Elkin, and we asked them, like, is it important to travel? And they were like, hell yes.
Yeah.
So what would you guys say is the benefit of doing that?
Oh, I just think it's, good to see what other people in other parts of the country are laughing at. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, like Phoenix, which is, not my favorite city to go to, but I'm like, hey, I wonder if, like, my incredibly liberal comedy will work in what
Republican.
is a Republican, this is with Scottsdale too, so it's like rich white Republicans. Scottsdale. And so you know what? It's weird. It's like, and I'm just so spoiled because I'm working with Posehn's crowds, and they're always going to be fucking cool people. But yeah, I mean, just in our own state, get out, go to fucking Lodi, and see what they like in comedy. It's a lot different than what they like in San Francisco.
We all know people that do really well in San Francisco and only in San Francisco.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bigger risk of that in a city like San Francisco that has such a strong local identity. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a risk of that everywhere. And there's lessons waiting for you out there on the road. I remember I went on a little tour with Haley Boyle, and I bombed my ass off at the first small town we came to. And she told me in the car, she's like, quit talking to them about your life. They don't give a shit about your gay-ass Sacramento life. And I was like, well, thank you, Haley. I said, it's the only one I've got. Like, what should I talk to them about? She said, talk to them about their life. And that was weird advice for me because I'm not a big crowd work guy. But we got to the next Winnemucca, Nevada, I think.
Winners Casino?
Excuse me. Yeah, and it comes up all the time in conversation because it was a really big night for me. I just went up and I just started rapping with them about what's this town about, and I found out it's a mining town, which I didn't know, and we were talking about the mining industry. But it was also very funny, and we were having a good time. And there's a guy there with his hat was slightly off-white. I was like, what is that? Like, you're almost a good guy, but you like to be spanked? Like, what is that about? It was fun. And then afterwards, this kid comes up to me. He's probably like 19 or 20. And he says, hey, man, can I get a picture with you? And I said, sure. Yeah, that's flattering. And he takes a picture. And then he goes, I never met a real atheist before. I wanted to show my friends.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure you have. But they're afraid to tell you. So it's really fun. And I think that it sort of, it does expand your appeal, so that you're not doing comedy that's just so specifically for your small niche, your town. You know, if someone who is like super progressive can go into a conservative place and make them laugh, fucking good. You know, you're doing the Lord's work.
So to speak.
The dark Lord.
The Underlord.
It was also interesting to see when both of us made fun of the atheist shows that we got.
Right.
Because we're like, how much is there to say about being an atheist?
Yeah,
like
there's almost nothing.
It's something you don't believe in. But then when we get there, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, being an atheist is a big deal to these people, because where we live, it's like, you're an atheist, so what?
Yeah.
Oh,
but they live in places
towns.
where, you know, I was in Memphis and there were Christian protesters outside of the atheist event, just protesting them existing and them being there, you know? And I shit you not, there was an atheist convention in Memphis. American Atheists had a little 3-day convention there, which me and Johnny both trip on that. Like, 3 days, Jesus, that's a lot of atheists. But across the street was the local baseball diamond, not for the AAA team, but for the, I don't know these words.
The St. Louis.
The local team.
Not the
smaller, you know.
I don't know. You're
like what the
AAA.
River Cats are.
No, River Cats are AAA.
So it is AAA. Okay, so like for the AAA team.
The Cardinals.
And they rented it out for the whole weekend to have a Christian revival.
Wow.
To compete with...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I went over there to check out the free Christian revival, and there were like 20 people there in this huge baseball stadium. I was like, we have cookies and stuff over at ours. You should come over. So you get that kind of response, and then it gives you that perspective where you're like, oh, I get it. This thing that's boring to me is really exciting and out there to them, you know?
Yeah. So would you guys say it's important to actually like go to these things and then craft your joke a little bit differently so it appeals to the masses?
It can also be dangerous.
How so?
I feel like there are comedians that spend a ton of time on the road doing one-night gigs at bars, and they learn how to kill there, and they lose themselves. They lose their individuality. I think you need to strike a balance.
Addicted to killing.
Yeah. I mean, Doug Stanhope talked about really learning to kill at those rooms on Tribble runs. Tribble is this guy that would book all these one nights in a row for you. And then he became huge, and then years later, him and a buddy were in the Pacific Northwest and had a week off, and they were like, let's call Tribble and do a Tribble run for old time's sake, you know? They're like, we'll murder. And he said they bombed their dicks off. Because he's up there talking about his suicidal impulses and how he doesn't trust the government and all the shit, and they're like, we don't want to hear about this.
Talk about titties.
Right. We saw you 10 years ago. You did that great joke about titties. So I think you can learn to cater to I don't know if it's a lowest common denominator, but a common denominator, and then kind of lose what was your individuality and your spark. So I think you should have some of that, and you should learn how to adapt to different rooms, but also not, if you can kill everywhere, you might be really boring. You probably should bomb some places.
Yeah, I would say if you're killing every night in every room, your act is probably not about anything.
Right. It's not challenging anyone. It's not taking risks.
It's predictable.
And I say this from a very privileged place where I just this year have performed in some of the best clubs in the country that are packed out and they're ready to laugh at my kind of humor. But I literally, at this point, do not adjust my act almost at all.
Oh boy, is that true.
Yeah.
I feel there's a story.
For better or for worse.
I just booked Johnny to open for, should I say his name? For one of my favorite comedians in Davis, and that crowd was obviously an older crowd. And Johnny walks up to me, he's like, hey, you think I can go dirty with this crowd? And I said, I would not.
I asked Keith, do you think I should go dirty? Knowing full well I had already made up my mind.
Yeah, and I was like, please don't. Like, as the booker, like, I'm not even talking as his friend or peer at that point, because personally, I'd love to watch him eat shit. But as the booker, I was like, no, please don't. And then, 1 minute later, I'm there watching Johnny talk about coming in his own face.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
A bunch of senior citizens who were like, oh.
It was a slow burn. I went from like, they liked me.
It wasn't that slow of a burn.
They liked me to like.
You think they liked you?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you were to listen to that set back, I did like 15, I think.
Okay.
And I started with a little, like I started with like a standard opener that I do, and they liked it.
So that was like 30 seconds.
Yeah. And then I was like,
here's 14 and a half minutes of film.
it was also like dark and filthy too.
Right. Really dark.
Yeah. Real like.
Yeah, you get dark pretty
heavy. And so, and I just kept like doubling down with every bit. I was like, we're going to just keep doing this.
You were dirtier than you are when you were in front of a crowd that likes dirty.
Right.
I've toured
He
with
gets
you.
off
I've
on that
never
shit.
heard you say come that many times.
I probably said
in
come
one
30
set.
times in the set. And it's
real,
also
real
like,
come heavy set.
I think I said that after the set. I was like, sorry, I gave you guys quite a come heavy set.
Which was you saying come one more time. Sorry for saying come so much. I don't mean to just be talking about coming all night.
Also, just
Thank you for coming.
just being really comfortable with bombing hard too, like is like I was up there literally in like gleefully bombing for this crowd of old people. And I looked at Keith at one point. Keith's in the back, and he looked like he was trying to crawl inside of himself.
Becky was cracking up because she would, forget I was there. She was watching you set, and then she'd hear me go, "Oh my God."
Yeah. That was funny. One of my favorite sets.
I have to see those people again the next month, Johnny.
I know.
So since you guys have both recorded comedy albums, how long would you say it takes to like start to finish as far as what you want to have in that album?
You mean like to develop?
Yeah.
I want to do one a year.
I don't want to do that. One every 2 years.
Every 2 years?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's a very
done.
personal, individual thing, though. There's someone like Alfonso Portela, who's one of my favorite comedians in Sacramento. But Alfonso writes a joke and then polishes the fuck out of it and makes it better and better and better. And 2 years later, he might be working on that same joke. And I just don't work that way. I write a joke, and I do like to polish it, and I do like to watch it grow a little bit. And then I like to record it and move on and, get rid of it. But sometimes I get jealous watching what he does because he's got jokes that just fucking sing and they're just perfect, every syllable. And I don't have the patience for that. So for him, I would guess that process would be, 3-4 years.
Right.
I just kind of pulling numbers out my ass. But I think it's very, like a very individual thing depending on the comedian.
Yeah. And I mean, people say, like, I remember when I was a new comedy nerd, when I was like really burning for it and like reading all about stand-up all the time. And I read, takes you 10 years to have a good hour. And I recorded my first record. I had been doing stand-up for 2 years. And I recorded an hour. And it's fucking made me a lot of money.
And a comedian that we both respect a lot told you in the green room, you were like, yeah, I'm getting ready to do an hour. And he's like, you don't have an hour.
Yeah.
And then later it was like, oh, okay, never mind. You do.
I mean, I'm 9 years in and I've recorded 3 hours, I mean, so.
Yeah, it's very different, And it's funny too, because like I loved watching the speed at which Johnny did it. And that was part of what was kind of thrilling about being associated with him. Other comics from my generation didn't like it at all. We're like, this motherfucker's not waiting his turn. It's like he's cutting in line. He just got better than you.
I got a lot of hate when I was new.
Oh, yeah, he got called the
cafe comic.
That was the funniest.
Shit.
That was supposed to be an insult, cafe comic. And I was like, it's funny that us, because there was a group of 5 of us that were the cafe comics. And all 5 of us jumped ahead of them and getting booked at Punchline and getting passed. And I was like,
yeah, I'll take it. I'm still at my heart. I'm still a cafe comic.
yeah.
Put me in a room full of fucking people drinking cappuccinos and.
Well, it's because our thing at the time was Luna's Cafe on 16th
That was
Street,
the
which
hub,
is still home away from home to me. It's a place that I love and is near and dear to my heart. But that's where we honed sort of our voice as comedians.
Right.
So what's the biggest difference now between comedy clubs, like the comedy scene now than 10 years ago, that you see?
In the last 10 years, it has steadily gotten more and more female heavy in the audience to where most shows I go to now are over 50% female in the audience. And I think if you go back 15, 20 years ago, that wasn't true. And that's neat. I really like that.
Yeah. Specifically to the Sacramento scene, I think the last 10 years has been, they used to call Sacramento Hacramento.
No shit.
And now we're dominating.
Yeah, and it's now I say this with literally no sense of sarcasm. Sacramento is the best satellite scene in the entire country. I'd put it up against Denver. I'd put it up against Portland. I'd put it up against, Austin.
Well, it's evidence-based. What's the thing that we've won 3 years in a row now?
Stand up NBC.
Yeah, NBC stand up.
Jared Guzman, Mikey Winfield, and Kyrie Shabazz.
Kyrie Shabazz, yeah.
I've had 2 number 1 albums on iTunes. I mean, Keith bought a house on Sirius satellite royalties.
You got Ngaio.
Ngaio, who's a fucking legend.
And then we got guys that aren't busting out as much, but I'll put them up against anyone like Alfonso Portela that I mentioned.
Right.
I'm proud as fuck to have that guy rep Sacramento. And the clubs, I mean, I got to hear some of the behind-the-scenes chatter about him at the clubs, where they were like, we're really going to have that guy open? Like, maybe we can skip him straight to feature.
Right.
And then they were like, no, politically that would be weird.
Yeah. Right.
That's a nice conversation for people to be having about you.
Yeah, I mean, and it was, when I was new, I got passed super quick. There's been 3 people that have got passed after their first time doing the Sunday showcase. Mm-hmm. And it's me, Moshe Kasher, and Ali Wong.
That's nice company.
Holy shit.
It is. That's amazing,
Yeah.
So
Sacramento is a really great comedy town.
Yeah.
Do you think it would ever get the respect that, because that's what we hear a lot. They bring up the NBC thing, they bring up all this stuff, and people are like, Sacramento just gets overlooked consistently.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because we gave the world Cake and the Deftones, and no, I'm being sincere. Mm-hmm. My brain, the hip hop,
Tom Hanks?
super experimental hip hop act.
Oh, like Blackalicious.
No, from Sacramento, not from Davis. Anyway, Death Grips.
Oh yeah.
Do we still get overlooked as a music town? I think we do somewhat.
Yeah.
I think people forget that those. Oh, isn't it funny when you go on tour and people are like, "You from San Francisco?" And you're like, "No, I'm from Sacramento." Isn't that San Francisco? Like, no, it's this whole town.
No, I don't have a liberal arts degree.
We get introduced as Bay Area comics all the time. And I'm
really?
like, no, we're not. Bay Area. It's quite a drive.
I remember when I was in LA the first year and I started doing this festival circuit, and they would always say, Johnny Taylor from Los Angeles. And I'd always say, I'm not from Los Angeles.
Good for you.
I'm from Sacramento. Change it.
Nice.
I fucking lost wherever the fuck I was.
Oh, let me throw this in real quick, though. If you're in a sketch troupe or if you're a comedian applying for festivals, don't feel bad about lying where you're from. After you make it, you can rep Sacramento. But one of the things they do at festivals is they flash the names of all the cities they have comics from, and they're not really that hungry for Sacramento on that screen.
Right. Live from Folsom.
I had an LA phone number when I didn't live in LA. I went on Google, where you can get a Google phone number, and I got an LA phone number so I could put it on business cards and shit. My friend Brett let me use his mailing address. I was like, yeah, it's my LA address. Yeah, I live in LA. Put me in your festival. And I don't know if it worked or not, but I did finally, after a long time of trying, crack the festival thing, and I started getting festivals. So, don't feel bad about needing to do the hustle where you need to do the hustle.
Fuck, it was right in my goddamn... Oh, yes. You guys have both taught comedy classes.
Yeah.
What would you say the benefits of taking classes for comedy are? Because, for me, we took your class, Keith, both of us, and I always say, if it wasn't for that class, I wouldn't have done an open mic. Cool. You guys actually forced me to get up in front of an audience and do it. So what would you guys say, being teachers, is the benefit of taking a class? Because you do storytelling, right, Johnny?
Yeah.
I've taken that one.
Yeah.
What's interesting about us is that I started by taking a class. You did not.
No.
And one thing I totally stress to people before I'll take their money is that they don't need it. Go to an open mic. But if you're someone that would have an easier time getting up in an open mic if you spent hours with a teacher going over your set and everything, then do that. So I kind of think of it like training wheels. Remember when I was a kid, there were a lot of dads who were like, no, training wheels is bullshit. There's no way to learn to ride a bike. But I'm like, no, training wheels can be really cool. Some kids need that and some don't. I think the class our goal is to help you skip some of the pitfalls and get through it a little quicker. One of my big goals is to give you a graduation show that's fucking awesome with a good, enthusiastic, positive crowd. Then you go to the open mic scene, which can be so hard. It can just be brutal. But you always have that memory of what you're trying to work your way back to. You try, because I tell people, once you get up to showcases and stuff, comedy's actually kind of easy.
Yeah.
But at the open mic level, it's hard as fuck. So give them that one great experience to then hopefully give them some momentum. What do you think?
I think you don't need a class, but I think it can be helpful. I've assisted with Keith's class before, and we're definitely giving people something that's useful. I don't think it's a waste of time. I think there is something to it. If the teacher, goes in with the outlook of, we're trying to get you to an open mic level, Here's the thing, like, people are like, you don't need a class, just go to open mics. And it's like, watch an open mic. Sometimes I'm like, man, this guy should have took a class. But then, my class is for people that have been doing stand-up for a little bit, and they want to incorporate a little bit of more of a narrative joke, into their act, and maybe a longer form bit. And maybe they have an idea already, and then we can expand it. And maybe they don't, and they just have literally a line, and we need to build around. But I love it. I think it's one of my favorite things I do is teach that class. So
cool. It's funny to watch me or Johnny in the back of the room at our graduation shows. We are like proud papas. We really are. Becky Lynn was the first person that pointed that out to me. She was like, oh, my God, you are so proud of each of them. It's adorable. And I was like, yeah, and then you guys, like, watching you do your graduation show, I'm in the back just like, yeah, they're fucking doing what we talked about. They're nailing it. And, I get stoked for you guys as if it's me up there,
Nice.
So that's fun.
All right, well, since you guys got shows to do, we are going to end.
I'm not doing a show. I'm going to go play Legend of Zelda.
I have a show.
I'm doing a show.
Yeah.
I'm doing a show.
So before we get into, have you guys listened to the podcast at all?
Yeah, every day. We've been fans for years.
We listened to 15 episodes on the way here.
And I'm not exaggerating, and this is the most like old man Luddite thing about me, but I don't know that I've ever listened to a podcast.
Will you listen to this episode?
Ever. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh, okay, good.
I hate the sound of my own voice.
We all do, Johnny.
I know.
All right, so usually what we'll do is we'll do the Inside the Comic Studio. First, let's get plugs out of the way. What do you guys have to plug? This comes out Monday, so plug socials, any shows.
Geez, if I was prepared, I'd have brought my
Well, you guys can take your time. Danny can probably go. She has multiple shows.
Do it, Danny. Do it.
Yeah, you can find me at Radchick Forever on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want. I have a show December 8th. I'm actually featuring for you.
Oh, nice.
At Comedy Burger.
That's a great show.
I have a show tonight, and I have the Fire show on
Yeah, Friday. It went well.
Yeah.
It went well.
But you could always check me out on Instagram or Facebook and find out of my upcoming shows.
Rob?
Get my side project, Stand Up Dads podcast. I do that with Mike. Episodes drop every Sunday. We just talk about parenting stuff, and then...
Oh, cool. I'm going to do that one, too.
Beautiful.
All right.
He was actually hoping for that, too.
I was. I was like, I'll
Digging deep.
But, and then, oh, shit, I already passed by then. Willie Listen went great.
It did.
And that was at Stab. And
on Friday.
Yeah. Keep an eye open for future ones because it's a great time.
That's the one thing that sucks about doing it on a Wednesday, and then you have shows Friday, but it comes out Monday. You just got to be like, it was great.
Yeah.
Stab Theater could have burnt down, and we'll just be like, it was great. All right, what about you, Johnny?
I am performing in Boise, November 22nd and 23rd, featuring for Brian Posehn at Liquid Laughs. I don't know if there's any Boise listeners.
We actually surprisingly do have a couple.
Cool. So if you guys are listening, come out. Say you heard me on the Gag on This podcast, and it will get you absolutely nothing. And then I'm just doing a bunch of other shows, always. Check me out on Twitter at Hipsterocracy, Instagram at Hipsterocracy. Twitter's where I do most of my work, though.
Same here. Nice.
And I'm Keith Lowell on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Keith Lowell Jensen on Facebook. And I'm going to be at Comedy Burger on December 8th.
Yeah.
Come out to that. I'm actually really excited about that. I haven't done Comedy Burger in like 2 years. I mean, so that'll be really fun.
It's exciting.
Always nice to have a vegan doing a show with burger in its name.
Yes.
And I hear they have a really good veggie burger there now. So I'm looking forward to trying it.
Eater.
All those burgers are killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait.
So good.
But I am doing a little tour. I'm going to go up to Seattle, probably do Portland, LA, Arcata. So check my Facebook and Twitter, and I'll be posting all the dates on there. And I really love it when people come out. And speaking of classes, I'm going to teach my class in Arcata while I'm up there. So that'll be fun, too.
Cool. Can I plug my class? I have another class, storytelling class at the Punchline Sacramento, starting in January. Go to their website, book it. It's going to be tight.
Yep. And then my one, so yours is on long-form storytelling. Mine is on getting your first 5 minutes together. Mine starts in February.
Nice. Having done both of them, I highly recommend both.
Oh,
cool.
Thanks.
Cool.
Look at that.
blacktopcomedy.com for all shows, classes, schedules, classes, workshop for sketch, improv, stand-up, and more. Improv for January should be up. We need the numbers up so Rob and I can finally take it. Open mic every Monday and Wednesday. Sign-ups at 6:30. Show starts at 7. $35 memberships. Get your first dibs on shows, classes, and schedules. Our sponsor, Bag of Dicks, is still giving us shit to give away. So you can win.
Would you like a bag of dicks?
Yeah. I didn't know it was a real thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're actually sponsored. We're legit.
You can get a big black bag. What is it? A big.
You can get a basic. There's 5 opportunities to win an original bag of dicks that comes in pink, multicolored, black. 4 opportunities to win a singing bag of dicks.
Oh my God!
Those are multicolored, black or pink. And then one grand prize winner gets the evil bag of dicks, which is it plays music. Once you open it, you cannot turn the music off.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys want it, just give me your address and I'll send you a couple
I'm on
bag of
it.
dicks.
Yeah, I would love a bag.
Christmas
Daddy,
is
you
right
got
around
something
the
in the
corner.
mail today.
By the way,
Don't open that, sweetie.
it does say sent from bag of dicks, so it's not like discreet
Send it
packaging.
to your wife at work.
Yeah.
Be like, here you go, babe.
So hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. You'll see the post. Just reply with what package you want and why. We'll give it to you. Also, Gag On Podcast, and you'll get 20% off your order when you go to Bag of Dicks. All right, now it is time to enter the comic studio. Brilliant. Okay, so we ask all comics the same 5 questions. This is for both of you.
All right.
First joke that landed well.
Can we do like Family Feud style? Like, so they can just buzz it?
Yeah, you got to send this out in advance.
I remember the first joke I did that landed well. I talked about Affliction T-shirts.
And how awesome they are.
Yeah, right. It's such a simple joke, but it was literally the first joke I ever really wrote for stand-up. And I was just saying that I want to thank Affliction Clothing for making people I never want to hang out with way easier to spot.
When I started, I was very Andy Kaufman influenced. So, like, the first thing I did hit pretty good, but it was I kept approaching the mic, but then not talking and doing this weird little mime thing where it's hard to even explain.
Like you're getting ready to jump in a cold pool, but you can't. Like,
yeah, I was, and I stretched it really far, and then the next week I went and I told the MC to introduce me, but I wasn't going to come out, and then for him to explain that I had stage fright and bring the microphone back to me backstage where I did impressions.
Wow!
But the impressions were just I was playing recordings of the actual people I was supposedly impersonating. I mean, I was really weird. And it went well for like the first 5 or 6 times, and then I got my first professional booking, and then went and ate dicks and just bombed my ass off. So, and usually, I warn people, your first time up, you're probably going to bomb your first few times up, and I don't know if I was lucky or unlucky that my experience was not the same. My first time getting paid was really early. And man, did I shit the bed.
All right, favorite thing about the local comedy scene?
just quality. Really, really good comics.
Man, it's just so many good comics. Yeah, I think that's it. And just feeling like we do, it's hard to define it, but there's a Sacramento voice. There's this distinctive sort of feel to our comics that I really, really like.
All right.
I agree with that. There's a Sacramento style of stand-up.
And it's not yelling. I don't know what else it is, but that's one thing I could put it on, is that we're not like, hey, laugh at this, we're super loud and fun. It's like, I find that in a lot of other towns, and I find it really off-putting, and I find Sacramento's a little mellower.
Right.
That sounded like Jerron. Remember when he would come in and just yell shit?
Oh, yeah. Definitely did.
Don't get me, there are some yelling comics I love, but...
All right, something you dislike or would like to see changed in the local scene.
Oh, man, there's so many people I could just do without.
Enough said.
They're almost all on the business side of it.
You know, and honestly, this is not specific to Sacramento, but
I tried to shut the doors.
Hosts and feature acts have been getting paid the same rate for 30 years, and it should increase.
Oh, that's what Alex said, too. Yeah.
Yeah, it should absolutely increase.
And some clubs are paying below that rate, which is atrocious.
And I had the chance to ask one of them about that, and they were like, "Oh, well, I didn't know what the other clubs were paying."
Bullshit.
Like, your job is to know. Fuck you didn't know. I mean, that's a terrible answer. That will shame on you for not knowing, but you knew.
Right.
All right, favorite local comedian?
Ooh.
Keith Lowell Jensen. It's not the right answer, but it's true. I think you should love yourself.
Everybody knows that I would say myself.
It's honest.
Hey, you wouldn't be the first people to say yourself.
I will say this. I will tell you a couple of people that I like watching. I like watching Keith. I like watching Alfonso Portela. I like watching Daniel Humbarger. I like watching... you know who I think is new, but I think is going to end up being very good? I love Becky Lynn.
I want to jump in before you take all the good ones.
Tina St. Lucas, I think, is going to be very good.
Ruby Setnick, Miriam Musavi, both really young and super, super good. Parker Newman.
I didn't realize how young Parker was. It was just recently his birthday.
He's ridiculously good for his age. And then his little crew that he hangs out with, they're all so good.
Oh, Drew Apsher, really funny.
Yeah, and who are the other two? I'm so bad with names.
Benton Harshaw.
I love Benton. He's super funny. And then the magician dude.
Oh, Roman Spinelli.
No, the other magician.
Kyle Littleton.
Kyle Littleton is fucking hilarious. I love that guy.
He's funny. I haven't seen him in a while.
And I booked him at a show at some like old folks community, and I guess they looked him up. And so we got there, and the lady was like, "Oh, so you're a magician?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do magic tonight, though. I'm here as a comedian." So she goes on stage, and she's all, "The next guy is a magician, but he's not going to do magic tonight." I'm like, that might be the worst introduction I've heard, and I've heard some doozies. He goes up, and the first words out of his mouth are, "Sorry, I'm not doing magic, everybody." He's looking through his backpack, see if he has any cards or anything. Fuck, I got to do a trick.
Emma Haney's also.
Emma Haney's fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to feel bad for whoever we leave out. Good. There's a lot of really great comics. Good name.
All right. Lastly, advice to new comedians.
Fucking open mic.
If you're a year in and you're still not getting laughs, stop doing it.
Probably the best.
Do we know any exceptions? Is there someone? I'm thinking there is someone that we were like, where the fuck did that come from?
A couple of people throughout the years, I've said that person will never be funny, and they ended up being funny. I've been wrong.
Oh, and I'm not going to say her name, but I just thought of an exception. I thought of someone that I was like, no, she's dog shit. I've absolutely no use for her, no time for her at all, and now she's one of my favorites.
Wow. I'm going to ask you in the car.
Yeah. You could probably guess if you put a little thought into it.
I don't like thinking. That's where the darkness comes in.
All right, that's it. Did you guys have any questions before they head out?
No, you two are... I haven't ever seen you two together, like out. I normally just see Johnny out.
Oh, let me throw this plug in there real quick. So when I'm done with this tour, Johnny and I will actually... because we were known for doing tours together, and we haven't in a few years because he went down to L.A. We are mounting another tour together, and it's going to be different than our other tours. We've spent a little time on stage together at our other tours, usually asking the audience if we can spend the night on their couch, which is true because we always forget that part of touring. And it always works out. But this tour, we're going to be on stage together a lot, and we're going to be telling stories together. A club made us do it kind of against our will. They were like, we want to book both of you to host together. And we're like, really? And it went so well.
No,
we're like, oh, that's the thing. Let's do it.
You two are smooth.
Yeah.
Like you guys are definitely really, really close.
Yeah, we're close. We're like a married couple. We were taking my daughter for a walk around the school. I go for a walk with her after dinner every night, and Johnny was there. I was like, hey, come for a walk with us. And this old black man sees us, and he comes walking out of his house, and he claps his hands, and he goes, what do we have here? And he says to my daughter, who's got the greatest two daddies in the world? And I'm just like, yeah, my buddy. And it made sense. I was like wearing a sweater I had stolen from my wife, and Johnny looks like a daddy. I mean, it
makes sense.
Yeah, we go good together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you guys both came because, you guys feed off each other quite well.
Oh, well, thanks.
Yeah, because that is Johnny by himself. I think it would have just been a little
boring.
Awful quiet and boring.
No, it's great. He actually gets a word in. It's nice.
Yeah.
So boring.
All right, well, thank you guys. Hopefully you have fun at your shows, and we are out.
Thank you.